Hey, Kruno.
Hello.
Welcome to Friday.
The line is open, right?
The line is open, man. That's right. That's right. It is Friday. It's our open line Friday, which, by the way, I need to say this disclaimer that we will be recording this session and pushing it out later, but it is open line Friday. It's finally Friday. And we have none other than Kruno joining us again. And let me explain what Open Line Friday is if you've never joined us before. Open Line Friday is really a great chance for you to ask us questions. Well, I say us. I mean, you're going to ask Kruno questions because he's the actual expert, and I would not be the bona fide expert like you are, Kruno. And you've been on with us before, so you're used to getting the questions that we have in the chat. If you have a question that you want to leave in the chat, then please do. And we're going to be talking about the favorite functions of Kruno that you and I got together this week, and we talked about your favorite functions, right?
Yeah, it shouldn't be misleading that when we speak about functionalities and favorite functionalities, so a disclaimer for everybody, these are not my favorite functionalities, nor are they the best EPLAN functionalities, because there are probably thousands and thousands of awesome functionalities at EPLAN. But I think those functionalities or those topics which we'll be talking today about are underappreciated functionalities of EPLAN, which people could use in order to increase their efficiency and to make their life easier using our software, right?
So you were misleading to me. You told me these are your favorite functionalities ever, and you would like the world to know about these. And now you're pulling that back. You're telling me no, that's not true.
Yeah, this is not true, because if there would be the favorite one, then everything will be around Pro Panel, right? And I don't want it to be that one side. So I like to bring a little bit more flavor in this webinar today. So I hope the viewers of this Open Line Friday will find some value and yeah, start using these functionalities.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to be able to join me for the Open Line Friday, because whenever we were deciding who was going to be part of this, I thought that you were going to be in Orlando for Rock Live. And in fact, let me share my screen real quick, because we had a few of our coworkers that were at Rock Live this week, and some photos I want to show you, because it looked like they were having a lot of fun. Like you got Rafat over here, Alessandro and Sean and Paul Galiniak. They were all there hanging out. And you would think that if you're going to be at Rock Live and you're going to go out and hang out in Orlando, that it's just a complete party the entire time. But I talked to them. I don't know if you talked to Alessandro very much. I talked to them this week, and they were actually working pretty hard. There was no going to Disney on the breaks. They weren't at medieval times whenever they had a lunch break. They were actually working the entire week.
Yeah, I've been speaking with a couple of colleagues this week who are in Orlando. I wish I would be also there, but I'm happy to be here with you, Josh. The feedback was nothing but positive, right? The crowd was amazing. The conversation which they had, as you see on the image on the left side, and on the right corner, Paul and Rafat did lab. So attendees were able to join and practice or try out our software and first-hand experience guided by our experts. So it was definitely a great experience. We were very happy, and we were big in numbers. So 5 of our colleagues were there. Hopefully, I'll be also at one of those events. But yeah. Do we want to show how good it was, or do we want to show a highlight of this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that we should probably show what Sean did, because if you look at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side, you can see Sean there with, I believe, Nicole from Rockwell Automation, and he did a short video kind of explaining EPLAN, which I thought was fantastic. So if you'd like to share that, you
Yes.
can go ahead and.
Yeah, let's quickly plug this in for a couple of minutes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, please confirm that you hear the audio also, okay?
Okay. No.
Hey everybody, I'm Nicole Belanda, the Customer Advocacy Program Manager at Rockwell Automation, and we are here at Rock Live 2022. I'm joined by Sean Mulherrin from EPLAN. Sean, will you tell everybody what your title is and what your role is?
I'm an international solutions architect at EPLAN Software and Service.
Great. We're so glad you can be here to join us today. And for those of you who don't know, EPLAN is a star partner of Rockwell Automation. So at the end of this live stream, I'll tell you where you can go to learn a little bit more about EPLAN. But for now, it's all going to come from you, Sean. So,
Okay.
Sean, tell us what EPLAN does and how is it different from traditional CAD applications?
Well, EPLAN allows you to design your control system in very little time. So typical CAD application will need a lot of effort to be able to create a design for control systems. EPLAN is a database-driven tool that allows you to design that same system in really no time at all. So if you would take like 4 weeks to design a control system, with EPLAN, you could probably do it in a matter of a couple of days. So the bottom line is using data to be able to enhance the design experience versus just looking at graphics and just laying out pretty pictures. Now, behind each one of those graphics, you have data, and we leverage that data to be able to automate a lot of the processes that are mundane and tedious in typical CAD application.
Got it. So instead of, would you scan in a traditional CAD file typically and just have what's on the PDF or the paper to guide you? Is that how it would normally work?
The scanning application or analogy is actually really good because if you look at a CAD application today, if you scan a document, all you get is pixels representing that document in a digital way. Well, in EPLAN, what you do is you scan the document, but we kind of are the OCR module that identifies what everything is. So we look at the text. So you're then able to take the text to do copy and paste, to relay out everything. So it's not just a digital print, it's really a logical set of objects that now can be used to create even more data and create even more processes in the back end.
Nice. Cool. That's, I mean, you said it saves time for customers.
Yes.
I bet it saves a lot of time.
Absolutely. So it really, once you create the design, then you don't have to start creating all of the other reports. Like now I have to create my bill of materials. Now I have to create my wireless. Now I have to create all of my layouts. Now I have to create all of these additional documents. Those are inherent inside of the schematics. So once you've done with your schematics, you're pretty much done. You let the software take care of the rest, and then you can generate a lot of the documentations automatically.
That's super neat. That's
Yeah.
really neat. I'm assuming that normally human beings would be the ones doing all of those steps that you listed out. Is there any benefit for reducing human error or reducing mistakes that may happen along the way by using EPLAN's technology?
Absolutely, and we'll never take the errors out of human beings. They'll always make errors. So one of the big advantage of EPLAN is it allows you to actually make mistakes. However, there's a whole set of tools in the background that can point out what mistakes you've made and help you fix them as well. So that's another aspect that kind of helps you to get the better quality at the end of your design by saying, okay, check my project and validate it and see where I've made mistakes and fix them. The other advantage is the fact that the software doesn't stop you to work, like giving you a message every time saying, nope, you can't do that. Nope, you can't do that.
Oh, that's
nope,
so
you can't do
annoying
that.
when you're
Exactly.
in an application and you can't move forward.
That's
Yeah.
right. So you can just go ahead, do what you need to do, and then afterwards just run a check and the system will tell you what you need to fix and how you can fix it. So that's another really big advantage of EPLAN, to make your engineering process also more efficient. And then the other aspect of that is to be able to leverage what you've done and put it in libraries, and then use those libraries to even design much faster. So instead of designing page by page, you can design section by section or whole panel by panel quickly and efficiently using configuration options if needed, for example.
Nice. That sounds like much more logical to the brain, to be more like at a higher level when you're doing that kind of design work.
Yes, it's designing how you would imagine the system to be. For example, you go into the software and you say, okay, I need a power supply. It's going to be a 480 volt power supply. I need a main switch. What's the size of the main switch? I need a ground distribution system. I need a power supply for my 24 volts. I need a PLC. So you think logically as you engineer the system, and the system gives you all of the circuit diagrams and all of the tools to be able to put that system together quickly and efficiently.
Very cool. Very cool. So for those of you tuning in, we are curious, what are you currently using EPLAN? Are you using regular CAD drawings? Since get you kind of curious and excited, drop your notes down below in the chat. Just like, how do you think this would relate to your business? Anything that you would like to share as parting words with the folks that are tuning in?
Absolutely. Be ready to change. And the only constant is changed. And with these days and new technologies that are emerging, it's always look at your current processes, the way that you do work today. And there are definitely better ways of doing it. And just because you've done it like this for 20 years doesn't mean that it's the right way to do it. And there are better ways to do it. And I think EPLAN is a really good example of taking a CAD application out of the equation and streamlining the processes by start working with data and environments that really help you to design faster and now focus on other aspects of the design and engineering.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I mean, that's good solid life advice in general, I think.
I think so.
So thank you to all of you who have come today to listen to this live stream. If you want to learn more about EPLAN, and I'm sure you do, we will put a link to the Rockwell Automation Partner Network page that gives details about EPLAN, where they're located, how to contact them, all that good kind of information. So thanks so much for coming today. We appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having us at the Rockwell or Rock Live event. And it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting that he talks about be ready to change. And what a lot of people love is the idea of change without actually doing what it takes to make that change happen. And so you have this brand new car and it does so many great things, but you don't want to learn how to maybe set up you remember whenever back in the day they used to have that keypad that you could set up and you customize it to where you know how to get in your car, nobody else does. Well, no, we'll just keep using what they used before, and then people figure out how to break into that. But there are different features of maybe your phone or your car that you don't use because, well, you haven't used those before. You're comfortable doing it the old way. Well, why are you getting something new that can help you and be more efficient whenever you're not going to use it?
That is absolutely right. As you're speaking, I was just thinking about iPad Pro or something, right?
Yeah.
It will be amazing if people would utilize like 70 or 80% of the functionalities what this device can do, but they're purchasing a device for thousands of dollars, or I don't know, what was it, $1,500, and then they're using it to social media or to watch videos on it. So I said, yeah, it will be really nice if people will utilize.
Yeah, what do you think the percentage of a phone is that most people, like a normal person, uses? What, like 20% of its capabilities, maybe?
Way less. I think the numbers I think I saw a graphic a while ago and it was like I think less than 10%. It's the majority of the people. But what again? It's like Instagram, a browser, and phone. So it's.
What about, is it the same in EPLAN though? Do you find that maybe clients have the same issue whenever they're using EPLAN? They want to use it just a certain way, and they know that it could do other things, but maybe they won't expand, what they're able to do and the capabilities of it because they're afraid that they're either going to spend too much time and going in the wrong direction, or they're going to break something. Because we all think we're going to break something if we don't know how to use it the right way.
The question which you are asking is really good. So as you know, EPLAN is or was the first CAE software in the market in 1984, right? And we, through this years of experience, years of interaction with our customers, we figured out that over 80% of our customers are utilizing less than 30% of our functionalities, right? The reason why is it would be good to know, right? So I think maybe mainly because they are used to use produce software in a certain way. So their goal is to replicate a process what they are used to doing. Therefore, they're only using a certain percentage of the software, right? But maybe an event like this, where we're showing some functionalities from my side or from my colleagues, will help customers to spark some curiosity and gain a little bit more efficient with the software, because that's all what it is about, right? How to increase quality and how to reduce the engineering time, right? So you have time for more.
There are a few other keywords that Sean said in that interview with Rock Live. He said design in no time. And that's something that came up last night. We were out at a dinner last night and talking about where we are as far as technology goes, and some of the companies out there that need the technology that we have are afraid that they don't have the skilled labor to support it, but also don't understand that this is really cutting down, that if you have an engineer on staff that's using the software, then it's really going to take them down to being way more efficient than before. And so that skilled labor shortage is not, and we've talked about this before, but that design in no time really is a big point for us to take in.
So it's maybe a little bit dangerous, right, to just jungle with numbers, and say, okay, you can save so much time if you don't know how fast or how efficient somebody is, right? But in general, we do feel very comfortable on expecting or looking at around 40% of engineering time saving, right? Why can we do it? Because we know that there are so many functionalities inside of our software which can help the customers realizing that, right? And up to that, some customers are so efficient in the way how they use EPLAN that they really have engineering time almost down to zero, right? And this is very, very impressive.
The other thing that he mentioned was that it will help you with mistakes. So if there is a mistake present, then it's going to point it out to you, and it's going to make you aware that there's something that needs to change.
So this is a really good thing, and as Sean was saying this in the video, it remembered me on my first days, actually first week at EPLAN. There was rule number 1: errors are allowed or mistakes are allowed. So you, human, you are allowed to do mistakes. In EPLAN, we have hundreds and hundreds of different error possibilities or error messages, which you can check as part of the quality check of your engineering and design, right? I'm not sure if it's now 600 or 800, but the numbers are super high, and every customer can adjust or can set up the error checking scheme to their needs, right? What they consider, what they want to check, right? So that's a very, 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 very good topic.
One of the questions in the chat was talking about the reference to e-learnings, and I know that that's something that you're very involved with, the e-learnings, because you send emails out to me all the time with references to that. So talk about where some of that reference material can be found for those that want to learn more.
Yeah, so education is a super, super important topic, right? I think we are mentioning it almost in every opportunity, right? Regardless if it's our webinars, if they are open Fridays or any other engagements, right? What we need to understand is that the first communication with EPLAN needs to be proper, right? So customers are expecting, right, that they it's like buying a brand new car or a Formula One bolide, right? And then expecting that they can drive this from the get-go, right? And why this is optimistic, right? It's probably in reality very challenging. So we want to protect our customers, and therefore we are telling them the first training, the basic training, it needs to be a proper classroom training, okay? And everything afterwards, the journey, right? We have, of course, like advanced trainings, we have one-on-one sessions, and since this year or since recently, we are creating e-learnings, right? That means where customer can, for certain topics, we have even free content for e-learning. So we just released e-learning updates 2022, block properties, terminals, as well as multi-language translation. So I think terminals, and we'll come to this later in this episode, terminals are an underutilized topic when we speak about design, right? And in this e-learning, customer can take a look at it and based on their time, watch it. You can find all the e-learnings and other functionalities in our cloud environment under eplan.com.
You know, it's funny that you said that you get a car and you drive it off a lot, how many people have gotten a Lamborghini and decided they don't need to be taught how to drive this Lamborghini, although it's a high performance vehicle. You said Formula One. It's a high performance vehicle, and well, if we can figure it out. It's just a car, right? It's just a car. And then they wreck it the first day that they have it. So you need that.
You know what the one of the side effects of driving a Lamborghini is? What people don't know, they're super loud, right? So people who are getting into a Lamborghini may need something what you have right now on your head, some headphones or some buffers to protect the ears, right? So because they're loud vehicles.
So have you you've been in a Lamborghini before?
Yeah, I experienced this at least once of their.
So you really need headphones whenever you're in it. It doesn't protect you inside enough.
I mean, maybe you get used to it, yeah, but I was not used to drive or ride in that loud environment, and so it felt like pain. We were driving on a highway, and yeah. The Toro, how is it called? What is the bull, right? But which is a symbol of the Lamborghini. It gets
right.
really loud. Yeah.
So let's get into your favorite functionality. I'm sorry, this isn't your favorites. These are the favorites that can be used with EPLAN. You already told me earlier that it wasn't your favorite.
Yes, sir.
So
They're definitely underutilized. Or you remember, Josh, when we were sitting down and brainstorming what value we can offer in this webinar, we were thinking about which challenges do customers usually have, right? And where is EPLAN, like Sean was saying, where can we save actually time? Where can we make an impact for the journey of our customers, right?
that's right. So let's get into number one for you, and that would be accessories handling. We talked a little bit about this yesterday, and about how whenever you're ordering something, it comes through that that sometimes there are issues whenever you don't realize what's coming in with the accessories or how you're ordering.
Exactly. So one of the biggest challenges which our customer have are when we're talking about enclosures, right? You have often modular enclosures. That means you have your base, right? Your profile, a door, and then you have accessories like side panels, like bases, right? Partial mounting plates, and then. So the thing is that the possibility of options goes likely into millions, right? And therefore, our sister company Rital, for instance, has a Bible. I call it a Bible. It's a very thick book of all components and all accessories, right? That means when you're ordering now something, right? You have the part number of the enclosure, and then you have to go back and forth and try to find the right accessories, right? Those components usually have, or some of our customers are operating in a time-sensitive environment, right? That means once they are receiving it, God forbid that they are wrong accessories which are not fitting, right? And then they have to reorder it, right? So for that functionality, or for this problem or for this challenge, which a lot of customers have, EPLAN has a very smooth solution, which is called accessory handling in Pro Panel, mainly used for enclosures. And if you don't mind, I'm just gonna share quick my screen and show how this functionality will look like, right? You can see my screen now.
Yes.
So as we know, so here you see in Pro Panel, a mounting panel. It's self-explaining that the panel needs to be populated with wire ducts, mounting rails, and components which were previously designed in EPLAN, right? What I was just talking about is that the enclosure at itself is modular, right? And that you have then side panels, bases, and maybe other accessories, right? I'm just gonna show you now very quick how this would work in EPLAN. If we layout space here, insert enclosure, As you see here, I have downloaded a couple of brittle enclosures. I will just select VX drive enclosure and place it here. As you see, I will not say that the enclosure is naked, but it just comes with the enclosure, the mounting panel, and the door here. So as you see, there is no side panel here, nor is there any other accessory beside the mounting panel and the door. So now instead of me going searching for the component book, right, and trying to find, okay, what is, if I have this enclosure, which side panel do I need to order for it? You can very easily just click the enclosure here, press accessories, and EPLAN pops up an accessory selection list, right, in which you pretty much see the possibilities of the components which you would like to select. Let's maybe start with the base, just selecting the base, pressing here down, and okay. I'm just gonna do this one by one so you can see it. As you see, automatic base was placed here. Maybe let's select then side wall or side panel like wall, and here side panel on the left. And you see now on the left side of the side panel popped up, and maybe just to complete it, side panel here on the right. See the installation variant right. So that's how easy it actually is, the accessory selection, right? So it's very comfortable once you have the enclosure data in your parts database. You can very easy you and all of your engineering colleagues can select it. What is the best thing about it? Since the data is inside of your project, you can easily create reports, Excel exports, and order those components very accurate. Okay, so that will be the first functionality which I think is underutilized, right?
Mm-hmm.
And can help our customers in.
What are some of the common mistakes that happen with this that they may not understand that this would be such an easy process for them?
Exactly. So customers maybe we are coming always back to the topic. We only know this and we always used it in that way. So we think that that's the right and that's the best way of doing it, right? So probably a wider big amount of customers is maybe not even aware about accessory selection and that it can get as comfortable as that what we have seen just.
Let's go to your second point on here. For our favorite functions are most underutilized. I should probably go and change this now that you already corrected me. Automated processing.
I'm not saying you're doing it on purpose, because I know you, but it's fine. We can call it favorite functionality.
Are you saying that I poked the bear a little bit?
No.
That I might okay.
No.
I get
So,
what you're saying.
Automated processing. As we know, people are used to creating habits, right? So that means you create. Customers are creating a process, their engineering process, which starts with step 1 and ends with step 100 or whatsoever, right? So there is a phase where our customers in the engineering and design process go to until the design is finished, and until then maybe afterwards some revisioning and redlining starts, right? So some of the tasks need a little bit of more human brain power, right? So you need to think logically to execute those tasks, and some of those tasks are more boring tasks and are self-explaining tasks at the end. So when I'm speaking here about automated processing, I mean the tasks towards the end of the design, right? Like exporting a PDF, like creating other types of reports, running an error check, cleaning the project up. Those steps, right, can be combined in a little script and then just run automatically. So once you are through the engineering process and are towards the end, you can run by a push of a button the automated processing, and then the script is running. It saves you time. You can maybe grab a coffee or talk to your colleagues at work while the software is doing those tasks, those repetitive tasks at the end for you. So will not save you maybe hundreds of hours per year, but at least give you couple of minutes per project, certainly.
But I think that these small changes can make really the workday so much easier, because how many times have we gone through and done these repetitive tasks and people ask you, well, what's the worst part of your job? And well, the things that I have to do there are so tedious. When you can take the tedious parts away, it makes that job a whole lot more pleasurable. And then again, you can go have your coffee or go. Do people talk around the water cooler anymore? Does that ever happen?
Answer yourself the question: do we have a water cooler in our office?
No, we don't.
So, but maybe,
maybe
I don't know if we are a standard company or not. So, but
I don't think that we're a standard company. I'll say that, from all the great personalities that I've met, I don't feel like there's much standard about the way we operate, and that's a good thing. I'm okay with that.
certainly.
So, yeah, I definitely like the fact that the tedium is taken away, because I feel like a lot of times whenever we are doing our jobs, excuse me, and we do have those tedious parts, it just takes it. Like you're looking at overall culture of what we do on a daily basis that's affected by that, because of so many things. It's time to make the donuts. Back in the day, whenever they had the commercials, the time to make the donuts, and you're doing the same thing over and over. That making somebody's job a little bit more pleasurable is a good thing. The next thing on the list that we have right here is automatic numbering, which is something you gave me a little bit more insight about yesterday, and I had no idea that this was a functionality at all.
Yeah, so certainly before I dive into the software, we often enough when we get approach prospects, right, who are interested in our software, they want to just a comparison between their old software and what can EPLAN do, right?
That's natural, though.
Yeah, it's natural. We think it's still like comparing apples with oranges or something, because we are genuinely interested into how can we reduce how can we change and improve the process of our customers, right? And for this, we need to first understand our customers, where they're going through, what their pain points are, rather than just showing off our strength and our functionalities, right? But one of my favorite go-to functionalities, which shows a big difference between our software and others, is this automatic numbering. Why is this an issue? Usually, so customers who maybe are not using our software knows what happens if they have to do changes in their schematic, right? That means adjust, add another page, adjust, move components around. So then they need to renumber essentially the device tags of the component as well, device tags maybe of the terminals, device tags of the wires, right? And this can be, in your words, a tedious task, right? Because it's very time consuming, and yeah, I don't think it's a very interesting step, right, to do, right? Move it and then manually type in the text, right? I think the humans who are paid to do the job are way smarter and should spend their time into thinking how to reduce the engineering time, rather than how to do such simple tasks as entering tags. Yeah. So what can EPLAN essentially do to help here with this topic, right? Let me share my screen again.
You mentioned that it was comparing apples to oranges. Isn't it more comparing apples to apple pie? Because you have something that's a much better product.
Yeah, I looked, well, in your comparison, I looked for the point of it. Apple pie is definitely a great product.
But only if you have vanilla ice cream. Well, apple pie with or without vanilla ice cream. I want to see what kind of person you are.
I mean, you already said what type of person you are, so I will go definitely with vanilla.
Vanilla ice cream. I almost feel like if you have apple pie, it has to have ice cream with it.
Is
But
it
there's
cold?
some people-
Is it cold or hot vanilla?
But the vanilla?
Yeah.
It's ice cream. It's cold. There's no other way. I mean, ice cream is cold.
You have ice cream, right? Or you have ice cream, and then you can put like a what's it called, a vanilla cream, a hot vanilla cream on top of it.
Okay, well that's like a different level too.
Yeah.
And then there are people in Louisiana where I'm from that will put a piece of cheese on their apple pie. Have you ever heard of that before?
Now you lost me. I knew.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
are very special, Josh. But I haven't expected that.
I don't like it. I think it's awful. I think you put that in the same category where my in-laws used to serve what they called salad, and it was a pear with mayo on it, and then I don't know. It was awful. It was cheese, a pear with mayo and cheese, and that was no way. I wasn't ever having that salad. That's not a salad that I know. So,
Right.
Sorry to get off topic, Kruno. I just had to
worries.
ask.
No worries. Let's take a look here at the schematic page. Again, this functionality can be used in any type of EPLAN project, right? As we know, EPLAN is an international software, so we're supporting all the international standards like IC, GB Ghost, and NFPA. In this case, I have just a little power supply page, right? And as you see, I have here connections on this page, like connection definition points on this page. Now, whenever I make any type of change and would like to renumber things in EPLAN, it's very easy essentially. All what we need to do is to select the page, right? So as you know, EPLAN works by selections, right? That means you can either select content, a part of the page, you can select the whole page here or the whole project, right? And then under connections, we have the possibility to press here enter designation. And this allows us to set up a scheme how we would like to number or renumber the wire connection in this case, right? So if I lead you a little bit deeper, so as you see here, I have various schemes already prepared. Maybe let's just create one on the fly and call this Mulherrin Friday. Okay, so and very easy, just add here new, and then you can define here the connection for which type of connection definition points does this scheme or this numbering scheme apply. Simply just press here general connections. The extent is how should the numbering be executed. It means when will, for instance, the counter change. And here you have the formats how you can or how would you like to number your wires, right? And in my case, I would like maybe in this, for instance, because I had a customer yesterday, right, who were interested to have the potential name and then a counter. I said, okay, it's very interesting. So it's very easy. You can just set like here data of potential, for instance, and you're searching for the potential. Software will find name of potential. Then we will add a separator. As you see, you can have blank, line break, or other characters. I will add here the underscore. And what did we set? We set then a count. Let's add a counter here. Some additional settings, how the counter should look like. And just by pressing OK, let's try this out. So we will get a preview of the result. Check. And as you see here, the connection designation at the beginning was empty. Designation, and now I renumbered it to 4 and then a counter, right? So, and that's how easy essentially renumbering in EPLAN is. And that will work. If I number it and then make a change, I can just run the scheme again, and it will, according to that information which I have set up, renumber the wires, right? So I think, again, this is one of the top functionalities which differentiate us with other softwares, right? You can very easy set up schemes, run those schemes, and the software is saving you time by reducing the amount of manual tasks which customers are executing.
Very interesting. I would have done the same thing, by the way, whenever I use the software at the house, just whenever I playing around, I'd do it just like that as well.
Yeah, it's impressive how much you start loving the software, right? After a couple of weeks, you already started using it in your daily life, right?
Hey, look, it's not even been a couple weeks. It's been I've been here for 5 months. I want you to know that I'm an expert by now.
Yeah, that's very impressive. Yeah, that says a lot about the onboarding of our onboarding quality of our software, right? That you in 5 months
Exactly.
can become an expert, right?
Yeah, again, I'm the marketing guy. If y'all don't know, I do the marketing, don't do the actual use of the software on a daily basis. That's why we have Kruno here. Placeholder Objects, another one of your top 5 hits.
Yes, it's I'm missing almost the words for how awesome placeholder objects are. The name may be a little bit misleading, right? So when we were communicating or preparing for this event yesterday, you tried to guess what placeholder objects may be, right? Placeholder, it means you're holding place for some other values, or for what did you say? Did you say components, or what is the your
Yes, I said it's basically just a graphical representation of something that was going to be put there later.
okay, like you're holding reserving a spot for somebody else afterwards, right?
So to me, it's like whenever you look through, if you're building a yearbook and you don't have, or maybe you're doing a newspaper and you don't have the photo for the person yet, then you put
Generic
a
picture.
blank image. Yeah, correct.
Okay, very interesting, right? It's going into that direction, but the other word of placeholder object is called value sets, right? And
Okay.
the truth is, and I heard it. I think that was 2 years in EPLAN. I was with a customer, and they said placeholder objects or value sets is the best thing what's at EPLAN for free, right? Because usually, EPLAN had this mantra that we are a premium software with premium price and that we charge for everything, which is not true. We already spoke about that earlier, right? That we have free e-learnings, right? We have amazing webinars, like we will plug in shortly a webinar for next Thursday. Tuesday, sorry. That's why you are also on this Open Line Friday.
That's the only reason I'm here.
To correct me with these details. So what are now value sets, and was this customer right when he said that value sets or placeholder objects are the best thing at EPLAN for free? I can see this, and in this particular case I really agreed, because the customer used it exactly right. So essentially, the most people know that EPLAN has a macro technology, right? For those who don't know what the macro technology is, join us
On Tuesday at
Next
10 a.m.
next Tuesday at 10 a.m. My dear colleague Rafat will present the macro technology and what the benefits of this are. For those of you who are new to EPLAN, macros are in other softwares called blocks, right? And it works slightly different at EPLAN, and it can be used to increase the efficiency. As Sean was mentioning it in the video, if you paid attention, is that you can create blocks or macros of your functions, right? And with this, you can reduce the engineering time. So that means we know at this point, right, when you prepare blocks or macros, right, you can create, or you're reducing the amount of files which you have, because you can reuse those, and because you have graphical variants of each macro, right? So it means whenever you have a macro and the variant change, then the graph will change, right? The possibility of utilizing value sets or placeholder objects allows you that the logic inside of those graphic change, right? So that means if you have, for instance, a macro for a motor drive, right, you can set up a placeholder value set for the kilowatt amount of the motor, and based on this selection, the whole macro change. It means the terminal sizes, the wires or cables there, the protection devices, and so on. So customers who are utilizing the macro technology combined with the placeholder objects and value sets, they can really reduce their engineering time significantly, right? And with that, I'm going back to what I said before, right? When we are entering conversations with potential customers, we feel really comfortable to say, hey, our 40% engineering time reduction is likely there, right? If you are utilizing those functionalities, which we are offering you in a good way, right?
I don't know if you had a chance to look through any of the questions in the chat, by the way, and I'll let you do that while at the same time, since you helped me promote this a little bit, let me bring this up and show you how to get to what we're going to be doing on Tuesday with Rafai. You just go to eplanusa.com, under company, click there. Then you go to events. Under events, you see there's webcast. And then you're able to see that this is going to be coming up on Tuesday at 10 a.m. And you click register here. And there you go. It's right there. You can register for the event. We'd love to see you on Tuesday. It's going to be an exciting one. And it's not all completely about macros, but this is one of the bases, one of the touch points that we're going to hit on a bit. Whoa, man, I just saw that question in the chat. I don't know if you want to get to this one or not. This is going to be a scary one, the last one, the Backstreet Boys concert.
I'm starting now with the first question, and then we need to be time sensitive because I have 13 more minutes, and I'll see if we will be able to answer all the questions today. Otherwise,
Okay.
we'll come back to the people later. So the
we kind of got to some of them already, but go ahead.
Yeah, I read here one question which I didn't answer directly because I didn't read it. Muhammad Rahman was asking that he's looking for books in English language to learn about EPLAN. We are obviously officially not likely allowed to put here some product placements. Back in the days when I started using EPLAN, everybody was using Bernd Gischel's book as references to learn the software beside our great training. So I'm pretty confident that he also has books in English. So that will be one literature which I would be usually not placing their product placements.
You didn't want to answer Johnny's question, who your friend in the back of you was?
That's Alessandro. If you were asking where is Alessandro today, he transformed into football with glasses.
Very well done.
Essentially, no, this is the office of Alessandro, so I consider him now sitting there.
Okay.
And I hope next time when we have an open line Friday again, you're inviting him to Josh, right?
Yeah, he's still on his way back from Roklive, so I figured that he would be fine coming back and not being part of this one. So do you have any other questions that you're going to look at before we get into our last favorite function?
Yeah, the other question also from Muhammad Rahman, it will be interesting to just look at it. Maybe the components aren't defined yet, so this can be certainly looked at. Okay, with that we will continue now to.
Yeah, sorry, I was pulling it up. All right. Lastly, for you, we have terminal navigators that you felt is something that was very underutilized with EPLAN.
Definitely not just. I mean, it's going there, and I mentioned that earlier, right? So in the North American market, the way how engineers or drafters were carrying or not caring about the terminal designation and the terminal definition was pretty little, right? So that means they used terminals as just pure graphical placeholders, which the term, like you said it before, and the guys on the shop floor figured then essentially out how many terminals they really need, right? That's why you see often drawings, right, from with a mounting layout where you have like X amount of terminals and then always some spares, right? If they need more, right? So by default, that's how some companies standardize, and that's also good for them, right? The way how you work with terminals in EPLAN is slightly different. Why? Because again, we are a data-driven engineering software, right? And you like to create components. You're downloading the part numbers of each individual terminal, which is a terminal designation on it, right? And that means you need to work proper with the terminals, right? In order to have a proper panel layout, in order to have proper reports, in order to proper wiring and wiring export, depending on how much of the automation you would like to have, right? But at least at the beginning, right, you like to utilize EPLAN, right, to create a proper terminal strip report, right? And in order to do this, Navigators can help, right? So mostly everybody who's working with the EPLAN software knows that EPLAN is famous for having navigators, right? The question is, why are there so many navigators, and what is the benefit of those, right? And I do think that the terminal navigator, as also the other navigators like the PLC navigators, the cable navigators, and so on, are very useful if you know what the advantage is, right? And granted, when I started my EPLAN journey at the very beginning, I was thinking this question, which I just said before. There are hundreds of navigators. I think I'm good with the device navigator, which is the main navigator, right? And I didn't knew what the value of any of the additional navigators would have been, right? But once you understand the value, then you're utilizing it, right? And if for those who are listening today, right, if you are asking yourself the same question which I just said, right, why do I even need a cable navigator, PLC navigator, terminal navigator? Come speak to us, right? We are more than happy to discover the functionalities with you. I'm gonna just now, for the end of this session, show you what I mean with the terminal navigator, right? So just a second here. As you see here, under devices, you can find the various amazing navigators, and we have here the terminal navigator. So already one difference between a terminal navigator and the device navigator, that the device navigator is showing all the devices in your project, while the terminal strip navigator is already filtering it down to the information which you would like to see, right? Okay, and then you see here the various terminal strips, and I'm just gonna go here, and as you see, you have here generic functionalities as well as, for instance, that's just the functionality which I want to show you now, the edit functionality, right? So this edit terminal strip functionality gives you a really nice overview about the terminal strip, which components are using, what is the numbering scheme, what types of components do you have, what accessories are you using, and this indication will tell you exactly how the report afterwards will look like. Also, you see where you have saddle jumpers. So sometimes customers who are using this, or who don't know how to use the terminal strip navigator, they are placing the terminals, right, just wildly in the schematics. Then they are, because they know with EPLAN you can create awesome reports, they're generating the report, and suddenly the order of the terminals is not how they expected, and said, in the schematic, they actually look correct, but the truth is they didn't know. Like in this case, as you see, you have 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6, right? It's not numerical. Why is it like that? Because likely the placement of the terminal was done in that order, and the software thought that's the right approach, right? Here, if you like, you could just select. You could either renumber those, or you can resort it, or you can even do this manually, right? So if you say here play a little game and push the spot 3. It's all about the fun. But as you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you have the saddle jumpers were adjusted to this, right? And now suddenly, if I generate a report, it will be proper. Okay, huge functionality, as I said, probably underutilized by a lot of people because they haven't looked at this yet, right? Okay, so that will be it with my, you can now call it favorite functionalities or underutilized functionalities. If you know a couple of functionalities you would like to talk about, you can reach out to me anytime or write it in the chat window. Yeah, I guess I will see you guys then at the next Open Line Friday or another.
Yeah, real quick though, before we let everybody go, I think that is a very important question about how the Backstreet Boys concert was this week. If we leave this conversation without knowing that,
yeah,
we
definitely
failed.
So maybe the people who doesn't know me yet, they will never think that I'm older than 29. So I know I'm certainly look pretty young. But when I was a kid, the Backstreet Boys were somehow famous. Also in Europe. So I grew up in Europe. They were also famous in Europe. Granted, I was never a Backstreet Boys fan. But this
Tell me why.
Nothing but a heartache, right? So I had this week opportunity to go to a Backstreet Boys concert with a friend, and it was actually really good. So I was, I'm 29 plus a couple of years, and I knew that those 5 Backstreet Boys, they are now 42. The youngest is 42 and the oldest is 50, right? And I was under the impression, right, what I knew from the Backstreet Boys from back in the days, they were dancing a lot, right, and turning around, jumping around. So I was really curious to see how much of this youthful energy in their age they still have, right? And actually, I was impressed. I was impressed how much movement is still there, right? So I'm looking forward to being 40 or 50.
They're very entertaining. And not that I've gone to see their shows. My wife she went to New Kids on the Block recently, like in the last 3 weeks. These shows of these 80s or 90s bands that are coming back, they're still very, very entertaining, or nobody would go see their shows, and they're sellouts everywhere. I mean, they're huge sellouts. I think it was the 80s tour that my wife went to see with Salt and Peppa and Vanilla Ice, and I don't remember who else was on that tour, but she said, yeah, they still do it because you got to bring it. If you don't bring that same energy that you had, then nobody's going to want to see your show.
Beside the fact that I was impressed, how also impressed with the amount of people who were there at this event. So it was crazy. I did not expect that that many.
By the way, if you want, you can come in the room and you can say bye with me. I'm just going to go over and talk about how we have on Tuesday again. Rafat's going to be helping us out with macros and talking about other things. You don't want to come in the room? Like, by the way, we're in the same building. We're like 2 offices apart. And I thought maybe you wanted to come in and you say bye at the same time. You can go to our website, EPLANUSA.com, and go to company, then go to events, and you'll see our webcast right there, and register for the macros with Rafat that's coming up on Tuesday. We'd love to see you and some participation. I know that we had a long conversation about this earlier, about what that was going to be, but I thought maybe if we said bye at the same time, that'd be awesome too. Thanks for joining us. Until the next time, we appreciate you being on Open Line Friday.